All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us again on Chamber Chat. Hopefully, you've seen our previous episodes. We've talked to several of the business owners and leaders in our community. And today we have a special treat. Um, Cheryl McQuiston is the leader of the local committee called the Magnolia Beautification Committee. They've been doing the Reimagine campaign in the village for the last couple of years, and we just want to catch up with her and kind of understand better what this committee is all about. And Cheryl, thank you for being here. Can you kind of tell us the story of the beautification committee? How did it come to be, and so forth?
I sure can. Actually, in January of 2018, I got a phone call from Corrine, the owner of Vixen, saying that a committee was being formed called the Magnolia Beautification Committee. And I have to say, I somewhat laughed because there's been several committees through the years. I've lived here 47 years and heard about things that could happen in the village and never do. So she assured me, though, that there was this brand new although you weren't brand new, but that this person, Jason, was on board as the executive director and that he was going to help us make this happen. And I think it started out with just four of us. And from that, it became 11 of us. And we have somebody from really every walk of life that we need to make something like this happen. Um,
So, if there's somebody watching that hasn't been in the Magnolia Village in a while, can you describe where this is and what some of the key elements are of this project and how broad it is?
Yes. So there are five phases. And the first phase is from 32nd to 33rd on McGraw. And the idea was to provide seating and clean up around the tree wells so people wouldn't fall and trip, to have umbrellas out there, to redo the benches that were already there, to make it just a more viable place to actually gather. And one of the things the very first thing I think that we thought about were our businesses, in that we wanted to bring more business down to the village. We wanted it to be a place that somebody might want to have a business. And so by doing all of this, of course, we've got our poles and our flowers, which was our original intent. But we wanted it to be beautiful and we wanted it to be someplace that people gathered. And that is exactly what's happened. The other phases are, which we're working on right now, phases 2 and 3. That's going up from 32nd to 35th. And then the last two phases will be 4 and 5, and they start on Lynn Street, which is just behind where the Uptown would be, all the way up to the park on 33rd, 32nd, and 33rd.
Nice. So, one of the things I know that we've talked about it oftentimes as a committee is the impact of COVID on this whole project. Have you seen positive or negative impacts to this project?
Well, I think I would say right at the moment it's much more positive, which is about the only positive you can say with COVID out there. But as I said a moment ago, what is turned into a blessing is that all these things arrived at about the time the restaurants were closing, but just starting to open, doing their takeout, etc. And just starting, and our businesses just started to open with curbside. And so Starbucks had closed, no place to go and sit down. You couldn't sit in any place. And so, where could you sit but on our brand new chairs at the tables? And that is exactly what's happened. If you go down there any morning, noon, or night, people are out enjoying it, especially in this weather, which is wonderful. We love the sun. And so, I would say that it has been a positive experience from that viewpoint. The only negative, and it's a big negative, but we're going to work our way around it. And I always look at things with the glass half full. So we have to raise money. And our intent was to have had a big, big party out in the streets on the day that the market was set to open on June 6th. But in fact, of course, we couldn't do that, and we were going to have a celebration as well as a fundraising event, and then we would have been having another fundraising event to raise money as we did for phase 1. Because we can't do any gathering, that's the negative. So anybody watching this, of course, I'm encouraging you to donate, because otherwise I'll have to be knocking on your door, and I don't think you want that. But we have some amazing donors. But believe it or not, we only had 146 donors make this happen. And there are 22,000 people in Magnolia. So there's a lot of you out there that we haven't seen your name yet and would love to see that.
Nice. So looking forward, what are some things that you're hopeful about?
Well, as I said a minute ago, I always see the glass half full. And so as we look at forward to, a big expense to do 2 and 3, although when you add them together, it sounds bigger than when you take them apart. In the last in phase one, we raised $175,000, and 25,000 was from the city. This time we have to raise something like, I don't know, I can't even remember my figures now, but something like $290,000. But when you split that, it's 140,000 for each block.
Right.
And at first we thought it wasn't going to be that much because we thought we would do less. And then we realized there's no doing less. You got to do the same thing up the street. So I think for me, that's what's hopeful for the future for our community is just to see change and to see new things happen once all these pieces are in place. Love to see more density in our community so that we have more people shopping.
Right.
I think the most exciting for me is what's going to happen with our businesses and what's going to happen with some of our buildings, and as we see those things progress and just having COVID over with. That's how I look forward to, so that I don't want to see anybody gone out of the village, and I don't think anybody else does either. So our fingers are crossed again. Chambers made a big difference for that, for the community, by all the information you've been able to give them.
Thank you. So, what are ways that people can support? Obviously, donations. I think there's different businesses that are partnering with you to raise funds. What are some of those ways? And then also, how do they connect with you, find out more about the project, that kind of thing?
Well, first of all, remember magnoliabeautification.com. That's about the easiest thing you can remember. And there are posters going up all over within the next week or two to remind everybody. So if you go on that, that's our website. You can read all about us. You can donate right there. There's all different levels you can donate at. If you're going to donate at a really high level, you can call me. My phone number's on there if you'd rather go through me. And then the businesses, as you say, are jumping in, and you'll find out everything you've ever wanted to know.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I've gotten to know Cheryl for the last 2.5 years because of this project. And my life has been impacted in a positive way because of people like her. It's been awesome to see people with a similar passion for our community come together and accomplish things that haven't been done before. And it's a lot of that is due to leadership of Cheryl. She's a bundle of energy. If you don't know her yet, you need to get to know her. So watch for her on the village streets. She's out there pretty often, and she's always got a smile on her face. So thank you, Cheryl, for doing this. Thank you for leading this committee
Thank
and
you.
making real change.
It really has. It's an amazing committee. I mean, that they've all stuck with us and intend to stay there till the end. So I'm lucky. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Take care.